At the recent Jobs Summit, all stakeholders came together to discuss the problems with Australian wages, including government, business, and unions. And they all agreed. Australian wages have been far too weak. For a decade, they went nowhere. And now, with high inflation, they're falling fast. After adjusting for inflation, the real purchasing power of wages has fallen 6% since the pandemic, and there's more to come. Real wages are now back to where they were in 2012, even though labor productivity is higher than ever. Everyone at the summit also agreed that the breakdown of collective bargaining in Australia has been a key factor behind the weakness of wages. Fewer and fewer workers are able to come together with their workmates and negotiate better wages and conditions with their employers. The share of Australian workers who are covered by an up-to-date collective agreement has been falling dramatically since 2013, exactly the same time that wages hit the skids. Today, just 15% of Australian wages have an up-to-date federally registered agreement, barely half the levels of a decade ago. And in the private sector, just 1 worker in 10 has a current collective agreement to lift their wages and conditions. So it's no wonder wages have gone nowhere. Workers have no ability to negotiate better pay with their employers. The summit came up with an interesting idea to help fix this problem. Right now, Australian labour laws pretty much limit collective bargaining to one enterprise at a time. That's why it's called enterprise bargaining. But there are many problems with that system. Number 1, many workplaces are very small. That makes it unfeasible for workers and their unions to find the time and staff to negotiate deals at many small workplaces. Number 2, some of those small workplaces are franchises or subsidiaries of much bigger corporations. The peak business has strong bargaining power because it's very large, but the workers have to organize in small, fragmented groups. That's a rigged system. This system is especially ill-suited for sectors that provide care or social services, like early childhood centers or aged care or disability services. Workers there in each small workplace have no bargaining power, and even the employers have very little money to fund higher wages and conditions. For all these reasons, it makes sense to allow collective bargaining to occur at several workplaces at the same time. It's more efficient, it creates a more level bargaining field, and in caring and human services, it would allow government to sit at the table too, to make sure those services have enough money to fund better wages and conditions. So multi-employer bargaining is a good idea, and it's a normal practice in most other countries. In Germany, in Canada, in Scandinavia, in Italy, in Japan, in New Zealand, and it could work here in Australia too. It would give more workers a chance to sit down and negotiate a fairer deal with their bosses, and it would support wages at a time when real wages are collapsing. All we have to do now is put it into practice.